Namaste friends. So this year we had the presidency of the G20 summit. It was held on 9th and 10th September in New Delhi at Pragati Maidan. So we'll have a question that what is this G20 summit and why does this actually exist? So to understand what is actually G20 means, we need to understand G7 first. So in the 1970s, when the oil crisis happened because of the Arab countries had stopped the supply to some countries like US and some other European countries because they were actually supporting Israel. Because of this reason, the Arab countries stopped supplying oil to the countries which had supported Israel. So after this, the countries US, Britain, France, and West Germany decided to have a meet on financial crisis and oil crisis. So the finance ministers had meet on the oil crisis. Later, 2 years later, in 1975, Italy and Japan had also joined the group. So in 1975, the first official meeting of G6 took place. After this, after an year later, in 1976, Canada also joined the group and G6 became G7. So the common things in these countries were oil crisis, of course, and economic crippling. And these were actually the part of Western Bloc. These were actually almost the same. And these were actually the main participants of World War II actually. So these countries decided to make some economic strategies. So in 1998, even Russia joined the group. But in 2014, when Russia invaded Crimea, then the Russia country was suspended from the G7 group. When Russia joined it, it became G8, and when Russia got suspended in 2014, even it was G7. And if we see the G20's origin, then we have to see the Asian financial crisis. So the countries like Thailand, Taiwan, and Indonesia were having so much of financial crisis. So the financial crisis affected the neighboring countries like Japan, China, Russia, even Russia. It affected Russia. That is why the Russia was included in the G7 and it was actually removed again, as I said. So on 26th September 1999, in the G7 meet, in which the finance ministers were taking part, actually decided to make the G20 group. And in the same meeting, G20 group was established. So there was a question, which countries should include the G20 and which should not. So the G7, the members of the G7 will actually, of course, they will be in the G20 and rest of the countries. So they chose the top economic handling countries. So on this economical basis, India, China, Brazil, South Africa and Russia got included. And who were the superpowers in the region? Regional powers. And in this, Indonesia from Asia and Brazil and Argentina from the South America continent and Mexico from the North America, Australia from the Oceania, and Saudi Arabia and Turkey from the Middle East. So actually the European Union represented the whole Europe. It was counted as the whole Europe. And there were 19 countries and a European Union in the G20. If we say it in thick words, then there were the top 20 countries in the world. So this was going until 2008. The normal meetings of the finance ministers were going until 2008. Financial crisis, global financial crisis actually. After this, then the countries realized that they should have the meeting seriously, and not just finance ministers should take a part in this meeting, in the G20 meeting. Even the presidents and the prime ministers of the country should participate in the meeting. So in 2008, the first official meeting, which included prime ministers and presidents, was held in United States. Because United States, the financial crisis had started from the United States. After that, United States got two chances to host the G20 meet. After that, from 2009, UK, and then after we see, every country got chances. So, like this, every country got chances, and in 2023, India was hosting. And in upcoming thing, Brazil is going to host. In the G20 meeting, the Troika system was applied. Troika system was like this. The current presidency and the previous presidency and the upcoming presidency countries were actually the part of the Troika. So for now, the countries are Indonesia, the previous president, and India, the current president, and upcoming president, Brazil. These are the Troika countries. Thank you for listening.